everyone, thanks for joining us today. Jonathan with Restoration Ranch, and we are here talking about startup ministries that are making an impact in our community. And today I got Ben with me. Ben, how's it going?
Good, doing good.
Yes, and we have an awesome guest here. A little bit about Mariano. He's been part of Restoration Ranch for a while, helping out, and likes to put me through some pain in some previous videos that we've done together with hot sauce, you know.
That was fun.
But been part of the ministry and the vision here for a while, and we're excited to talk to him about some upcoming things that he has going and what he's involved with. So Mario, tell us a little bit about your background, just a little bit.
Yeah. So I grew up in Belleville is where I went to school, went to Belleville East High School. Spent a little time, my family's from the Bay Area, San Francisco. So I was there until from a young age, came back here, grew up, went to school, ran away from God, gave my life to Christ at 7, felt called to ministry at 16, ran from God, and then crazy testimony was, I won't go into all of it, but basically like God got a hold of me through a really, really bad car accident and was paralyzed. And so then the Lord just used that time, like Jonah and a whale, except it was a couch for me, and used that time to get a hold of me. And it was good. And so now I'm getting to serve at First Baptist of Fallon, and I'm the student pastor there, and it's a blessing.
Yes,
I
awesome.
married my wife, Trinity, going on 2 years now.
Don't forget that. That's
huge.
That's important. Awesome.
We won't talk about that with Jonah.
That's after Jonah got spit up.
I'm sure she's much more loving in that situation.
Yeah. So we're here. Like I said, we want to talk to ministries that have some outreach. Maybe they started a new part of their ministry, or it's a whole different ministry that's starting up that's making an impact in a very creative way. And so we're just chatting with Mariano and just want to kind of get more information about how all that got started, get more information about how to get involved and how we can learn from that. So I guess the first thing that we want to start off with is, so when you're talking about ministry and just the overall impact of ministry, how do you think, or what do you think the hardest challenge to overcome when you're going to start a ministry to impact a community? What do you think the hardest thing is?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm glad I'm here, but I don't know anything, and I want to make sure to not a fake humility, but I'm learning. I'm 25, and so I don't know everything. But I think the challenge and that I see, and Phil, we're doing Seven Hills Student Conference, where my heart behind it is, we have a little bit of a budget. I want to be able to create something where non-believers can come, where our students can come, and then students that maybe they don't have that opportunity in their church where they can come, not for us to, hey, you can come to FBCO, but really for us to empower them, equip them, and say, hey, let's go take this back to our churches. Let's go reach people that are lost. Let's equip them. Let's grow closer to Christ. And so the challenge with that is, I think when you're starting something up, is you need to be able to communicate to people why. And kind of that vision, Proverbs is without vision, my people will perish. Yep. And vision is helping people see it's helping people see. Literally, the word vision is about sight. And so you're helping people see the bigger picture as to why you're doing what you do. And I think the hardest part of a startup is why are you doing it, and then communicating to people why, and then helping them get into the movement. It sounds a lot simpler than it is, because vision has to constantly be talking about it. It has to. A lot of people say vision is caught, but I think vision's taught, and it has to leak out of you constantly, pointing to the bigger picture.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Vision's taught, but it's caught. I like that. So do you think the community finding value in what you do? There's a lot of programs out there, right?
Yeah.
People have choices. There's plenty of different things that people can pick, shop around at, see what they like best, kind of thing. Like you said, vision's important, but there has to be something that people find value in, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think you bring with that people are just like, come on, this is different.
Yeah.
This is something
so
special.
For the conference, for students, what I know, we're talking about Gen Z, and then we have Gen Alpha that's entering into youth ministry. And so the conference is for that age group. We need volunteers of all ages, but for that age group, and what they're looking for is purpose and hope. And what we know is that the gospel never changes, right? So the gospel brings purpose, hope, a future. And so for these students, it's how can we point them to the gospel? How can we, I don't want to get in, make it complicated. And yes, we have light. It's not about light. It's not about the concert. It's all about Jesus. And so I think really just emphasizing and showing them from Gen Z and Gen Alpha, look, if you're looking for purpose everywhere else, and we want to show you in different ways, from breakouts to topics to doing service things, like even coming out here at Restoration Ranch, like, I'm going to show you that you can find abundant life in Jesus, and you can find true purpose. And I think that's what we're all trying to do. That's the gospel, right? That Jesus says that, you know, you have abundant life through me, and the thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And if you look around and all the people that don't know Jesus, they're looking for it everywhere else, and it's stealing, killing, and destroying them. And a life of Jesus is so much better. And so I think the conference really, it's just I just want people to know God and make him known, right? That's it. So that's what we're trying to do.
It's always the goal, brother. Always the goal.
Yeah.
I think what we tend to find with different groups out there, right, is when we appeal to people's, certain wants or needs, right, without telling them truth, we find, a lot of, I'm not gonna say that just only subjective opinion on why we do different things.
Sure.
But there's no real foundation, right? Nothing's really laid. So I love how you say, like, man, we're about bringing the gospel into this. We're about teaching and focusing on Christ and where your true identity lies. Which we know true identity in Jesus actually leads to right intention for not only worship, but service and everything we do in our community. And so that's the mindset that, hey, if I'm sending my kids somewhere, if I'm going to visit and try to find a church family, you're looking for that, right? Because that's authentic. And everything else, if it's not appealing to truth, it's appealing to just, how can I make your life better? What can I give you to make you happy and want to be here? Which, don't get me wrong, that draws. But truth
should not be the number one.
Should not be the number one. And that's what truth is all about. And I think here at Restoration Ranch, that's our goal too. We're on the same page, and that's building true community will come through that. Right?
That's good.
That's how we know, God says, like, this is what true community is. Everything else, if it's not for the glory of God, right, it's self-serving in some way, shape, or form. And so if we portray the right vision into why we're doing things, people will fall in to that because God draws them into that. So
that's good.
Yeah, I know you hit on this, but just kind of bringing it back to making it simple. But why were some of the reasons? Like, I mean, when you looked at your ministry and you were like, we need to do something, and you came upon Seven Hills, what was the main thing? Maybe a couple other reasons, but the main thing. I know you started hitting on that.
Yeah. So I mean, for our church, it was really, it's a discipleship opportunity. So I'm not an event-driven guy. I'd rather do Sunday morning really well and Sunday night. We have our youth on Sunday night, so rather do service and life group really well on Sunday morning, and then do our youth night really, really well. But I being a non-event guy, I know that events do have value once in a while, right? It's good to do something big to gather people and to grow. And so my heart was discipleship with it. We have. It's a conference, so you've got the guest speaker, you've got worship, you've got a little Christian concert, but throughout the weekend you've got things going on like breakout sessions where we're talking about things like apologetics and different topics, even finance, where seniors talking about what do you do after college. And so we want to help these students grow and to think and ask hard questions that the Bible answers. That's kind of my methodology for everything we do in youth ministry. We preach expository. We'll take breaks sometimes and do topical, but like right now we're doing a hot topic series, more controversial things. But everything's kind of centered around like what does the text answer? Like what is the text teaching us, obviously in context, but then what questions is it answering that we have right now? And so that's the same with the conference. Like I want us to, our theme is unashamed, but we're really we're talking about how do we live bold in our faith? What is it? Things like, I think cancel culture will come up. Like, 'cause kids are scared of that. Like, if I act bold for Jesus, then am I going to get canceled? And so we're talking about we want to help them grow, and the key is discipleship for the conference. We want to help people grow, and then, of course, if an unbeliever comes, the gospel is going to be shared, and I pray that they walk out as a believer. So
Awesome. Being disciples who make disciples, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And I think that's an awesome way to set up any sort of, ministry and or conference to grow community.
Yeah.
You're going to lay out the truth through what you guys are doing. And then as you see that change hearts, you're going to be able to answer those questions that they're going to have biblically, which in turn will allow for you to disciple them well.
Yeah.
And, for a youth program, especially, we all have kids at this. We have kids at this table, quite a few actually, but those kids need proper discipleship, right? So the last thing we want to do, right, is, we want to bring them in, give them the gospel. That's true. But then we don't want to send them out empty handed, right? We want to give them the right tools. We want to be able to guide them in the right direction, even if those kids don't go to our churches or that we see every day. We can at least be like, hey, what's your name? Then we can even reach out for them to their local, youth pastors or whatever, and at least their parents, right? Be like, hey, this is a wonderful opportunity for them to
exactly. And it's something like for instance, last year, I want us to cultivate something where we're not just doing this for FBCO. We're helping students grow so they can go impact their youth groups. And so just recently I saw I got it sent to me. It was a testimony at Grace Church. So it's in Fairview, and they had a girl her name's Grace, and she was giving a testimony, and she gets about 3 minutes in her testimony. She's like, and I went to this conference called Seven Hills, and God really used that to get me on fire for him. Nice. And then what I loved was she didn't say, I just had this emotional experience at Seven Hills. She said, I left and I've had a Bible study with 10 girls, and it's been going on this entire year. Dude. And now I'm excited to go back again to just kind of come together and celebrate. That's what I want. I don't want to just create. I want to make disciples, right? We want to see people that they don't just have camp high or conference high, but they're changed and it's continuing. And so that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I think that's what we want to hear. If it's a gospel-centered community, when we're talking to people in the community doing these things, that's the message we want to hear. That's what we want to hear from every youth pastor, every church founder, everyone who's doing something for Christ is that very thing. Hey, it's about this. It's about watching these people get intimate relationships with the God that they love and growing in that. And we are supplemental to that. And we are just the guiding light that we're being blessed to use by God to do these things for them. So,
and I think that's what really has knit our hearts together. It's just a passion to bring people together. And I know when we got involved last year, we had some conversations about it of hey, how are we going to get some other churches involved in the struggle that is? And that's kind of, again, that's the purpose of Restoration Ranch, but it's also now a lot of the purpose of what we're trying to do with this podcast is we want to get the word out to other ministries that maybe talk that talk, but what are they really doing to put it into action? Everybody understands that we should all get along as brothers and sisters in Christ, but what are we really doing to put that to action? And at Restoration Ranch, that's definitely what our heart is to do. Not having that church platform, but being there for all the churches. And so when I heard you talk that way about that, and I was like, oh, great. How can I help? And so now this year we're hoping to help a little bit more and get other churches involved so we can see the heart behind it isn't just to get more people at your church. It's to get more people at their church that have biblical understanding, biblical knowledge, desire to serve the Lord, that relationship that is stoked on and on and on and not just boom. So I love hearing that. I guess that gets me on fire. On fire. But how do you find, because I know that there's a struggle with that. How do you find is maybe some of the things that you're doing to get buy-in, maybe the best ways, or maybe some struggles that you're seeing in buy-in, getting that community involvement, getting other churches involved? What's the struggle?
Maybe hit us with some failures first.
Because he doesn't have failures.
No, that's good though, right? Because we learn from those things, and I think that's how. You want to be you can tell about all the victories all day long, but we want to hear about the stuff that got you there.
So I think I'll mention a failure. I'll start with this. Just as a whole, you probably seen the statistic that for youth pastors, their average stay at a church is 18 months. And right now, it's statistics.
Dang.
And so that's bad on youth pastors, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, I think in our like society or world, we're so always on to the next thing. It's not just youth pastors; it's a lot of jobs. And I think the biggest thing that the struggle when it comes to whatever, like doing parachurch ministries or interdenominational things or just working with other churches is you're not like faithful or consistent. And I'm not saying that we're not faithful, like there's lots of faithful ministers God calls them, or maybe they feel like they need to leave, or the finances, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of they want to do things like this, but then aren't consistent and faithful for long term. So I think sometimes we want to do this right our first year, but if we were here for 5 years first or 4 years and built real relationships over like networking, then we'd probably have more buy-in. I don't think everyone would. I don't think everyone would do it, but I think that people would trust you more. They know who you are. You've been somewhere for a while, and so I'll say for me, I guess something that I've prayed about is like I know that statistic, and I want to I want to commit to be here for a while, and I know that I'm young, and someone could ask the church plan or do all these things, but we need to be consistent. And as far as failure, I think that with my mindset, because I came from I did asphalt business for a while, and so I do have more of a sometimes a business mindset where I'm like, how can I market this or advertise this? That I think I did probably start some of my relationships with people in a networking mindset, and I think that people can tell we're inauthentic.
Yeah.
And so my heart was wrong with that, and we don't need to have relationships with people just because we need to get connected in this way or have them come to this event. But God cares about all three of us in here. He sees with inherent value and purpose and knows us. And so if we understand God's heart for people, we have to have that heart for people. Yeah. And then I think when we have real relationships with people, then those opportunities will come. Yeah. So I think so I guess my encouragement with doing things like this is try to build real relationships and be faithful and consistent. Because if you're faithful and consistent, you build trust, and people may be more likely to work with you. Because even this past year, we have a few more churches that are coming to this conference because at first you're like, who's this guy? What is this thing? But now they're like, okay, wait, there's some fruit from this. This seems pretty good. Some of them have met with me and we had lunch. And so over time, they're like, okay, this could be something that could be good for our churches. But I think a lot of times youth pastors, whatever, anybody, we can have that mindset where we're just like, I want to do it right away and not want to put in the time.
Yeah.
Do you find like, and kids aren't dumb from my experience, right?
Yeah.
Especially young adults. Like, I mean, they can kind of sniff out the fake and the real.
Yeah.
And so I think what you said is really important because there are all too often just churches and even community organizations like ours coming and just like maybe trying to be too business-esque, trying to put together that model of not only with the pastoral guidance with that is like, oh, I need to promote up kind of thing, but even just like, numbers over just relationship and just that whole, hey, we're in it for the right reasons, not just because we're trying to build this thing, even though we believe it's going to be built because God honors and is glorified in the work that we do for him. That's a promise. The church will be built in his name, it will overcome and things will happen. But like people, especially nowadays, it seems like they can hear things and they can just be like, no, that ain't what's up. And so I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I think like this Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they can spot an authenticity right away and they won't be interested. And I don't know what it is, if it's that social media world or they've been exposed to so many seeing people on screens all the time. I don't know what it is, but they do know if you're not real about it.
You mean like personality wise or like biblical wise? Because I'm like, man, I hope so with the Bible. Like I hope they're hearing stuff, be like, that ain't right. But also at the same time, like this guy just seems like,
So I think personality wise they can. And then if you're talking about Christians, like believers, I think that there's a way that you look at God's word and you see some pastors or speakers or teachers and it's like that's not right. It's not real. And so I hope the Holy Spirit helps us be able to identify when something's false too. But I think in general, the non-believing Gen Z, Gen Alpha, there's something about it they can identify inauthenticity.
Yeah.
And when you're only caring about fruit or the numbers or the results, they know it. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with fruit. I think that we should be. There's two ends of that spectrum. There's those that are faithful and should be faithful, but don't ever pursue fruitfulness or don't want to see results, which you should want to see results. And then there's other people that are all results. And so it's a combination of we need to be faithful, and through faithfulness to God, I believe we will see fruitfulness.
Yeah, and hard work too.
Yeah, and
right.
hard
So
work,
like we're not sitting back and being
Exactly.
like, God will do everything. We know He will, so we're just going to let Him work.
No,
It's
you
like,
got to work hard.
yeah, you got to work hard.
Yeah.
You got to get out there. You got to be up in it. And
Yeah.
so it's good to hear you guys, and that's your mission,
Yeah.
wanting to do that and be like that. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. So one of the big things when we're talking about all these ministries is impact. And we talk a little bit about some of the impact that we saw from last year and your heart for that. But let's talk maybe a little bit more down the road. What do you say, let's say 5 years, what are some of the impacts that you're hoping to see from this ministry?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I guess it's simple. I want to see long-term having students' lives change. I'd love to see if it's 4 years from now and I have a senior that maybe they come back and they're like, hey, let's serve at Seven Hills because it impacted me. But it's bigger than the event. I care about the event, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
But I just really want to see lives change for Jesus and see like there are those results, like see people come to know Christ. And last year we saw people baptized, not just at FBCO, but I saw baptized at other churches, which is amazing. And so I hope that they went back and kind of pump people up. Yeah. But really, like, I'm not someone that's like, hey, I have ideas and goals, but I'm not like, Lord, 3 years from now, this is exactly what I want to see. Cause I'm more like, God, do what you want with it. Yeah. And I think we should be that way. I try not to, like Lot's wife, she got stuck looking back, but I also think we can get stuck looking forward. We're always so far ahead that we're not present. Nice. And so I really just I want to see people come to know Jesus. I want to see people discipled. I hope that this is going to impact long-term. So people come back and serve or go off and minister, be great in the workforce. Some people call the ministry. And so I guess I just love to see God just years from now showing me that, there's a purpose behind this and He was using it. And then if it grows and if it's a large conference or if we have more students and churches, then I would love to see that because I think it will make the impact. Yeah. But I'm open to what He does. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really great. It's the thing that I love and why I connected with you so well is it's not the event in your mind, but it's also not how you run your program aside from that. Yeah. And you're always looking for opportunities. And I see on Facebook, and I heard from you when I talked to you about opportunities where you're taking guys that are coming out of your youth group and plugging them in with opportunities to serve. When you come out here, you got like this kind of an entourage, and it's funny. I say that not like tongue in cheek, like so you understand it, but these guys that are just like see the authenticity in what you're doing and want to put that into practice and be around that. And then now I've seen some of them go off to churches, and now they're awesome going off to do churches. So it's a way of life for you. And so when you talk about this big event that you have and what it's going to turn up, I mean, it's just, you just wanted to do more of what you're already doing, basically. And so this is hopefully just a bigger spread. Yeah. And if it continues to grow, well, great, but I'm already doing it on a small scale. So this is giving opportunities. So I think that's just awesome to be a part of and to see. So I don't have too much more, but basically we just wanted to, chat with you about Seven Hills. So of course we want to know more about that. Yeah. Great opportunity for youth. So give us kind of a more clear understanding of what Seven Hills is and how people in the community can find out about it and get involved, serve, and the youth can hear about it and get involved. So.
Yeah, so Seven Hills is a student conference for students in the Metro East from 6th to 12th grade. And kind of our 3 values: we want to see students that don't know Christ encounter Christ. We want to see students that do know Christ equipped. And then we want to see those that do know Christ empowered to go bring Jesus to their community, to their churches, to their friend groups, their families. It's incredible. I get sidetracked by celebrating, but I think of, when you get back, like we had a student recently that got baptized, and it's not about just, his name's Corey, and he got saved, which is amazing. But then his whole family came to the baptism, and they don't know Jesus. And so that's what it's all about, is seeing people come to know Jesus, and then equipping them to actually be disciples, because we want to make disciples, not just converts, right?
Yeah.
We want people to grow. And so, yeah, the conference will have breakouts, guest speaker. It's February 28th through March 1st. You can find all info at fbcofallon.org/7hills, or on Instagram at 7 Hills Student Conf. And tickets are $40. Scholarships available, different things like that. And so we would love to see you there, see students there.
Yeah, we'll put links and all that stuff in there so you guys can follow up. But yeah, we're excited about it. We're actually going to be there. We're going to have a little booth to be there too. So get your kids involved. If your kids are out of the house, and then come and get involved yourself. They got opportunities to serve. I think there's opportunities for food for the people.
We have a meal sign up for like volunteers. So there's 60-ish volunteers that are going to serve, and so we have to feed them.
It's a lot of food.
Yeah,
that's a lot of food.
Who are some of the people speaking at this?
So Logan Counts is the guest speaker. He's from High Street Baptist Church in Springfield, Missouri.
Right.
So not too far from here. And then their worship team. And then a lot of the breakout sessions are pastors and speakers that are involved at FBCO. But then I think we have Michael Bird. He is the Sin missionary from Missouri.
Yeah. And
so he's supposed to come. And then a few others. We got some young adults, some our kids life director. And my hope is eventually that's a goal for next year, is I'd like to get more people from the community actually speaking as breakout speakers as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So families can be confident that, they're getting the good messages from all over. It's a community working together to bring this conference together. It sounds like, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah. You guys are hitting it about good. So
awesome. Well, I think that about sums it up. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys there, seeing you involved. Again, we'll put all the posts in there, and thanks for joining us.